Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and I have LD here with me, and you're watching Glenda's Dragon's Den. Glenda's Dragon's Den comes to you live on the Conscious Awakening Network on the Glenda's Magical Creation channel. And it goes live on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and many other streaming platforms. Tonight we have someone special, and I am really hoping everyone can stay for the whole show. I understand sometimes it's a little late, but if not, you could always catch it later on. And I am just going to basically introduce him. Bill Homann, how are you?
Doing
And
good.
and he is the caretaker and of a very special crystal skull, one of the very few in existence. And I'll just let him tell you all about it. So,
Okay. Well, it's good to be here, and I'm glad to be a part of the show. I am with this is the Mitchell-Hedges Crystal Skull, and it's considered one of the most mysterious, if not mysterious, objects in the world. In the fact nobody really knows who made it or how it was made, and they have a lot of the people that just say it's this and that. But as far as proof, there's no proof that how it was made or who made it, because it has properties that are impossible to duplicate even today. One of the things it's made against the grain, which to do that, it's very hard. It's 7 on the hardness scale, but it would very easy to crack because it's very brittle as crystal. It has lenses and prisms. This is the thing that really makes the scientists really try to figure out where it came from, because to build a crystal and have lenses of perfect 90 degrees and different capabilities built inside of it, it would take, in this time, zero gravity, because right now they're building crystals, but they're doing it at the space station in space, and they're doing it almost like one atom at a time to make the perfect crystals. But this one's here, it's huge. It's made out of piezoelectric quartz. That's the kind of quartz computer chips are made out of. And it is said by legend that it has the knowledge of the universe stored inside of it, which makes it kind of interesting. But it's here, they say, at a time when the world needs help. And in my opinion, I think we could use help right now.
yes, we definitely can. We definitely can. And so, how did you tell us about yourself, and how did you come about
Okay, well,
being the caretaker?
yeah, what it is it was found in 1924. This January, it'll be 100 years that it was found. And this is the story as it was told to me by Anna Mitchell-Hedges, and she is the one that went into the pyramid and brought it out in January 1st of 1924. And her father was a British explorer, adventurer, working down in Central America at British Honduras, which is part of Britain's, one of their countries that they had charge over. And he heard that there was this lost city. It was called the White City. And he was looking for the White City, which he did not find. He found another city, and this one was called Lubantun, which is in now Belize, Central America. And so he went there with expedition looking for that connection. He took his crew down rivers and stuff till they came close to where the site was supposedly at, and then they were able to find it there. They had found 7 pyramids, a ball court, a spiritual center, all within 7-acre area at that point. So one of the tallest buildings was the tallest pyramid, and it was said that if you went to the top of it, you could see all the way to the ocean. And so his younger daughter, adopted daughter Anna, was only, well, she was 16 at the time, and she snuck with some friends up to the top because she heard that if you went all the way to the top, you could see all the way to the ocean. And she wasn't allowed up there, but everyone was taking a siesta in the middle of the day, and her and some Maya kids snuck to the top. And while they were up there, it was overcast day, and the clouds moved right above her, and the light from the sun went through the clouds, and the rocks had moved because of earthquakes and the trees growing, and there was like a crack that the sun went through, and it hit something inside like a light and came back. And she ran down and told her father she was in big trouble. But the next day when she woke up, he had all the men ready to open up the pyramid, and they started opening it, and it started to collapse into it. And then they went one rock at a time, and they moved it till they got a hole big enough for a small person. They put a rope around Anna, and she lowered her into the pyramid. This kind of sounds like a movie, doesn't it? But so she went in the movie, and she felt around, and she found it, put it in her shirt. And when she came up, the natives, when she opened her shirt, it was like their god had returned. And it was such a shock to Mitchell-Hedges for the way they were acting. They stopped work and everything, that he presented it to the high priest, and the high priest put it in an altar, and they built fires around it 24 hours a day. People would come from out of the jungle, people they never saw, to see it. And it was there for 3 years. And in 1927, when they were ready to leave, it was presented back to Mitchell-Hedges, because while he was there, he brought 2 doctors, he brought medicine and food, and he gave to the people. He didn't just take, and they felt that he would be able to take care of it. So that was in 1924. And he had it from 24 till he passed away in 1959. In 1959, he passed it on to Anna, and she had it from 59 till she passed away in 2007. In 2007, when she passed away, she had been training me for 8 years before on how to take care of it and what to do and what was expected. And so when she passed, it was my job to take over and do, carry out with her plans for it. She didn't want it to go to a museum, because in a museum it would be in 1-inch thick glass. And it was like the British Museum skull had been in glass like that for 100 years. And if you look at the skull, it's very cloudy. And the Mitchell-Hedges skull looks like, well, they call it holy ice. It's really very clear. And so she says that the skull needs love. It needs to be around people. And by people being around it, it keeps the energy flowing and doing its work, what it's supposed to. So I had it. She found it on January 1st, 1924, and she passed it on to me on April 11th, 2007. She found it on her birthday, and she passed it on to me on my birthday. So there's a lot of strange things happen around the skull, and what happens is when you're around it a lot, you just say, okay, you just go with it, because it makes life interesting for sure.
Well, I'm not going to get specific, but do you have a routine when you say take care of it? Is there a routine that you have to go through with it?
Taking care of it, yeah, I do have a routine. I follow some of the ancient ways that I was told to take care of it. It's a type of programming. It's the way it works with me, and since I have connected so deeply with it, it more or less responds very closely to what I'm working with it. Yes.
So is this a daily protocol?
You know what? My life is nothing that can be daily, because I'm all over the
Okay.
place. But the main thing is she wanted me to be able to bring it out and let people be able to experience it. And I've been learning about it, and I've learned over the years. At first, it was like a big responsibility, and I didn't really understand why me. But as you study past life, as you work with some top spiritual leaders in the world, as you work with the shaman and some of the different elders, you kind of connect to why it was get why I am doing what I do. And I do it out of love from my heart because to me, it's a great joy. Because it does three things really good. It works one-on-one, like we're working together, and it mirrors your inner self of the person that's working with, and helps to bring out and balance out things in our life and bring into their life. Because a lot of times we live lives that aren't what we really want, but we tolerate it. Okay, and some people tolerate doing a job for 30 years and they really hate every minute of it, but they have all these gifts. Maybe they're a great artist that they have never brought that out. So the skull happens to bring out the gifts. One thing I find, there's a lot of people that come that have a lot of what I call spiritual gifts, psychic and spiritual abilities. And a lot of people, because they were growing up in a time where if they had these abilities, they were either made fun of or the parents told them, you can't see that. There's no such thing as angels. There's no such as this, and more or less beat it out of them. And here they are 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're still under that same belief that they can't do this. And by working with the skull, it opens it up and they connect with those gifts, because those gifts were given to you and you brought into this world with them to help yourself and humanity. And I feel this is a special time we're living now, that we need to remember who and what we are, and bring this out so we can make a difference in our life and in the world. And it's really the most exciting thing. Everybody thinks, what do I want? What's my purpose? The purpose is just finding that voice and being all that you can be by following your joy, and the joy will take you to the right place. So it's really, really neat that way. And so by doing that, I change lives. So, I have people here and there have ability to create songs and different things like that. And maybe a lot of times now that gift comes back and they start doing it, but they're doing things with their ability to help mankind. And then the same thing, when you do something for someone else, there's no better feeling that comes back to you. And so with my job, hey, I change lives, and it's a really good job because it really makes me feel good. And that's why I have a lot of fun with it. I meet a lot of interesting people, and there are a lot of really good, interesting people in the world. And I open up to all that I can do and all I can be, and it makes life really fun. So, and that's what I work at. So another thing that the skull does, it works really good on energy lines on the earth, and it helps to restore the balance of these energy lines. And like the way I found out about this, I found out this early, and being the caretaker is, about a year after I was caretaker, I got a call to go to Australia. So I thought, okay. So I took the skull and we went to Australia to do lectures over there. And as soon as I got there, I was told and met by some Aborigine elders that told people I was coming for 4 years before I even had any idea. And so they were waiting for me. They took me out to a spot. It was an ancient caldera, ancient volcano, and they had me take the skull and put it at a certain place on the ground. And then we did a ceremony, and I worked with them. And they said that it opened up they call them sun lines that went from the right from there, from the caldera through Australia, through the sea, all the way to Machu Picchu. And they said it had been blocked for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so they thanked me, and I picked up the skull, put it back, and left. But with that, I learned that it does have that ability to do that. And so I've been using it and taking it to different sacred sites throughout the world and throughout the country. I do most of my work now within the United States. And I found that it's really really a joy to be able to work with nature, because being close to nature is is really a powerful thing that ties you and helps you tie with your roots and connect with the Creator. And the other thing it does really good, and we've been doing this, is with meditation, because the skull is a magnifier. One of the things it does. So if we work together and we come into a meditative state and we're working and using the skull, with the skull, it's not, you have 10 people, it's like 10,000 people. So you can send out a lot of energy. And I believe at this time, what we do is we send out a lot of love and light and help to the world, the people and the planets, and just work on, it's, you can't, everybody says, oh, we're all one consciousness, so when you say, oh, this is bad over here and it's so bad and we don't like what they're doing, then you connect with it, okay? But what the best thing to do, according to the skull, what it says is, what you do is you send forgiveness and you send love. So you send universal love to the person, the thing, the place, whatever, and you send forgiveness. And if by doing that, you might just try it. Think about somebody that's caused you a lot of heartache or pain or whatever. Excuse me. And just say that I forgive you and I send you love. Excuse me. I'm going to get a drink here. Sorry. And
so
I don't know. You'll feel it.
What's
it's
the
like
longest?
big,
What's the longest you have not worked with the skull since you started being the caretaker? Approximately.
Yeah, pretty much. I've done some traveling without the skull. Usually, I like to take the skull with me, and I did. I was one time a number of years ago. I was living in Italy, and then different places in the United States. So I would travel there, and then when I was in Italy, I would travel a bunch of the countries over there. So that was pretty interesting, and went through Central and South America. Got some interesting stories on that, but I probably some I shouldn't say. But it's never boring, I'll tell you. Did I answer
So
your question?
approximately how long a period of time
Probably
are you
not
able to
more.
not do your protocols?
Yeah, I have a connection with the skull, so I am connected no matter where I am, and I can connect to it as strong almost as I'm with it right here, But yeah.
And I understand that, but you said it's not a daily thing.
Well, as far as there's different levels. When I'm working with it, I work on different levels all the time, but I'm not doing like the connection. Now I've done them so much in so many years, it's as natural as riding a bike. You just
So
do
you're
it.
pretty much always connected then. Do I
Yeah,
understand?
I
On
am.
some
Yeah,
level, you're always connected?
I am now. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I got to ask you, when you get on an airplane with that, does it have its own seat? I mean, I'm sure you don't put it into baggage, right?
Yeah.
How does that work?
There's two things about traveling, and one thing was going through a TSA one time with some TSA guy, taking the skull out of its compartment and walking across the cement floor with the jaw in his hands, and not being able to do anything. That's one thing that really got me. And the second thing that really was that they passed a law that they can take an artifact away from somebody for an undetermined amount of time to find out where it really belongs. So it could be one day, it could be 2 days, it could be months, And so I don't take that chance with the skull. It's too important for me. It's really too important for mankind, because I'm doing a job that I feel is pertinent to where we're at in this timeline. The
So you
skull
don't
came out.
fly with it anymore, and I think that's great. But when you went to Australia, I presume you flew?
Yes, I did. Yep.
And where was the skull while you're on the plane? Just out of curiosity.
It was right with me. I don't, yeah. Anytime I travel, it's right with me. Yeah.
That's what I thought, and I was just
Yeah.
curious because
I don't stick it. I don't stick
as
it
you
in.
tell these things, the weirdest stuff comes to my mind. And
Yeah.
now you were a sergeant in the Air Force,
Yes, I was. Yep.
and
Yeah.
how do you
That's
get
where I
from
first heard
being
about the skull.
and how do you get from being a sergeant in the Air Force to the caretaker of the skull? How
Okay.
does
Well,
that roll
I
out?
was, yeah, I was stationed in Panama in the
Right?
late '60s, and down there's an island off the coast called Toboga, and we'd go out there because it's really clear water, and it's coral. The coral sea is so beautiful with all the coral life, and all the life there is so just like a different world. So I'd go out there and we'd bring our tanks and we'd scuba dive off the island, and there was a little canteen, and there was with a hotel, and I'd go there after diving, and we'd go there and have something to eat and have something to drink. And the lady there was very English, and she started telling us stories, and she told us about Mitchell-Hedges and about him having his boat in the bay out there and then coming in for supplies because he was into fishing. He still has like I think 13 world records that have never been broken after all this time from the 30s. And so, yeah, one of the world records, it's a sawtooth shark, and the sawtooth, 14 feet, is in the British Museum right in the entrance when you come in still. And it was like 5,680 pounds or something like that, sawtooth shark, 32 feet, and he caught it on a hook. That's what is special. But yeah, so he has those world records, and Sammy had a world record too. It was a hammerhead shark. It was like 1,200 pounds, but somebody's beaten it by now. The largest caught by a woman. So I'll have to tell you some stories about her. She was an amazing person. Yeah, and she loved adventure too, and that's how we got along so good because we both have that adventure draw to us.
So you're on the island and you hear the stories, and then what happens?
Well, so then I heard it, and it kind of stood with me, but she didn't say anything about a crystal skull. And then I was on the mainland by where they had the locks, the first lock, and they had an area in there. You went in there, and there was on the wall was some pictures, and the picture was Mitchell-Hedges when they called him to the Panama Canal because the Panama Canal was completely blocked and they couldn't get anything in or out for weeks. And they called him, and what it was, there was an octopus that blocked the whole locks of the Panama Canal. And he went in with harpoons and harpooned it, and they pulled it out to sea by tugboats, and that was a story. So I saw that and I thought, wow, that's kind of that stuck together. And then I was just reading some articles and I saw the crystal skull, and what I find is that what it happens with people. So if you have 100 people, some people just walk right past and not even feel anything. But the people that have connections in their past lives or something, depending how strong it is, you really can see it in them. It's like, wow, it's really neat. You never know. Yeah, because every person comes to it, you get something different out of it. It's not like one size fits all. It's each person that comes. You never know when they sit in front of you what's going to happen. And if somebody has that real connection, because a lot of people never heard of it, and all of a sudden they see a sign, they go to it for some reason, and they're just drawn to it. And then
So you see the skull and you feel drawn to it. What happens next?
Okay, if you feel the draw to it, it usually connects with you when I work with them one on one.
But I'm saying when before you ever got your hands on it, before you met Ann, You saw it in the drawings in the canal or in the books
Right.
you were looking
Oh,
through.
okay. Yeah.
What
It
happens
just
next? I'm trying to
what
get
happened.
the
Well, yeah.
timeline of how you get to the skull.
Okay. Yeah. It's that strong connection. So I got out of the service like a year and a half later, and I went back home, and I took a crystal course in Illinois, uh, like a year later or so. And when I was taking the course, one lady just came back from Canada that had seen her, and I was like, wow, and I thought it was like, wow, that's just unbelievable. I got the number, and I called her, and she answered, and I said, to my surprise, and then she was like the nicest person in the world, and she is. If you ever would meet Anna, she's really friendly to everyone. But she invited me up to see the skull, and so I took a ride up there and saw the skull. It was like I was there for several days, and that was my first experience. And it was, I just had that real connection with it, and it was really
Well, that's wonderful.
right at the beginning.
So we're gonna put your .com up because we have a guest who's asked how they can get in touch with you if they want an appointment. So Lori, there's the .com, and you can reach Bill through there, and ask him directly. Because I know you do work with people, and that's wonderful as well. What about books? Have you written books?
Let's see. I haven't written any books. I really haven't
Okay,
had time,
I
and maybe I
understand.
will. But I've been doing, a lot of documentaries and stuff, but no real books. No.
Now,
Okay.
getting back to sessions and the
Mhm.
calling and the pull, and like you said, every session is different. I believe is the crystal is giving the person the knowledge or the healing it needs at that moment. That's why the same person could come 10 times and get different types of sessions.
Oh, right.
Um,
Yeah.
right. That crystal skull is even sending energy right now through this broadcast, and I feel it, and I am sure that some of our audience is feeling it. Now, it could turn out to be for them, it could be a release. They may be holding on to something that they need to release, or it could be their gifts, could be like you were saying, that could be artists. So um, it is fantastic that you are carrying this beautiful gift and you are sharing it, because a lot of people would not. A lot of people would just hold on to it and not share it with the world and not really acknowledge that we as a one a wholeness, we all need healing right now. The world in general needs healing, whether it's in this planet or other planets, because I know that when that crystal skull starts sending out really heavy duty energy, it will not just be here. It will be wherever it originally came from. And it will be sending out to other planets, star systems, it wherever it may be needed. Um, and from even what is telling me now, because I connected before the show, and like I was telling you, I felt and I was able to see the waves going back to you. It is very proud of you and what your future plans are. And it is telling me that this is the perfect opportunity for you to talk more about what your future plans are and your intentions for center or healing or whatever else.
Okay.
Would you
Yeah.
share
I'd
those
love
with
to.
us?
Sure, I would. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
But the thing is, it's a I used to say it's universal love, but I really feel it's love from the Creator, this ancient love that comes through, and when it touches people, that's what I see. And a lot of people, it's a remembering. And so it's like going home. They feel that warmth and love that they a lot of times have forgotten, living in the 3D world. But you feel that love, and it just kind of permeates you, and it's really, it's a, like you feel the protection, the love, and everything. So it's really neat. It's really wonderful. And so I feel the real essence is that universal love that works on changing people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've been doing this for the number of years, since 2007, and I've really been learning a lot, learning about myself. But yeah, for a lot of the years, I was just taking around and showing it, and it was costing me money, and it kept costing money. And so finally, just this last year, I started having sessions, and I charge for the sessions because it helps pay for the other trips that I take with the skull. So
Right.
yeah, but what it does, it's really an important thing, because if you take the time to do it, it's a lot of times with people life changing, because they have a different perspective of themselves and life. And I feel a real joy to be able to do that, for sure. So
So what are
as
your
you,
plans for building the center that you envision?
yeah, I feel now that I'm, not saying older, but getting older. Uh,
Well, that beats the
but
alternative.
yeah, but I want something where the skull can be safe, And so I'm thinking about, I'd like to have like a foundation, or like a healing center, even, where because the healing is in all different planes, So I'm not saying, you can't say it'll heal people, but I've seen a lot of magical stuff happen. But the thing is I want a place where people can come to see it, meditate with it, and it'll be safe there for all the future. Go into the future. It'll still be safe, and it'll be a place that I see it where it's kind of in the country, a little bit of rolling hills with trees, and maybe a little creek going through it, where you have walking trails through the area. Have people of similar beliefs and ideas that come there with their special talents. I've met a lot of really powerful healers. I've met a lot of people that work with learning the different planes and working the energies and different things, and being able to bring through that into the world to help people too. So I like to fill it full of people with gifts for humanity. I like to have a place where we could grow natural food. I like to have a place where children could learn about meditation, and be able to be there and have in a safe way to learn that they take back their power, and being able to use that for their self, their family, their friends in the world, in a way of that, sharing that love and light, because we are the creator beings. What we think is what we get, and if you think positive thoughts, well, you're going to get positive. We're in a position now, because the skull says there are the entities here that have soul spirit connections. Those are God beings that are creators, and there's ones that haven't advanced enough to have the connection, and the only way they can get power is by taking it from somebody that has a creative ability. So they're very good of sucking energy off people, and you get those people in your life, and you're around them, and you're like ready to fall asleep, and you don't know why. But you want people that you give them energy, they give you energy. You give them good ideas, they give you good ideas, and that's what we're trying to build a community of like-minded spiritual beings to come together in a family of love and light to help humanity. And helping humanity is, if all the negative stuff happens in the world, and then you're a creator being, and you take your mind as thinking, oh, this is going to happen, it's going to happen tomorrow, and you start worrying about it, you're creating that with your creative ability to make it happen. And so if you can stay at a central point with your mind, and then go forward of what you do want and not what you don't want, and see a world that you have peace and joy and love and happiness for yourself, your family, your friends, and the world. That's what you want to create. If you have to create, would you rather have something that's really good or really bad? And we have a choice, and we have a tendency to go to the bad because everybody's putting those thoughts in our mind. But control your mind and let's make good things happen. That's what I feel.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not going to ask you the where because then the price is going to go up. But timeline wise, when are you hoping to get started with this?
I'm just
Approximately.
starting now. I'm starting now by saying it. You have to bring it
Right.
out. And so I'm bringing it out now. And if the right person hears it and says, hey, I have this land for you, and I want a place that has, very good high connection to energy and stuff. So with the skull and a really strong energy point, that it's really easy to keep it going all over the world and sending out that good vibes. So
Well, let's put the .com back up so that person sees this. They'll be able to easily get a hold of him.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. So
And
it'll happen.
the skull is telling Glenda that that's going to happen. Right. So you're halfway there.
Halfway
it's
there.
just a matter of working out the details.
Yeah, they're working out the detail. Well, that's you followed your heart, and they took you, and by doing that, there's nothing more joyful to be able to help people with following your true destiny. That's really neat. Yeah. So it'll happen too. I feel it too, and I'd rather have it in the right place than push it in the wrong place. So
absolutely,
I trust spirit, and I trust that the right person will see it, feel it, and will make that happen. So yeah.
And that's why I didn't ask you the where, because like you just said, the where hasn't been determined yet.
Yeah. And also
the minute you determine the where, then the price goes up. But
yeah.
Like Glenda's been in touch with the skull, and the skull is very happy and appreciates the connection and everything you've done. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel that, but at the right time too. So
right.
But I think on a really important energy spot. There's a lot of them that we don't even know about. But if we go to that place and really be able to connect to it, that would really be the perfect thing. Because you see, here's the energy spot. We build the church or a chapel right there and have the skull, on like an altar right there where it can be out for everybody to see. Yeah, that would be neat. Yeah.
Yep. And the skull is actually saying it's going to happen within 3. So I'm not sure about the 3 months, but definitely 3 years.
Wow, that's right.
It'll be all done within 3 years.
We're all done within 3 years. Wow. So
that's what it's saying.
So buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up. Yeah, I keep my seatbelt all the time on.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, when I first was I was chosen to take the skull, and Anna passed within wasn't that far longer, and that's what I first did, a mystery of the crystal skulls, where they took me down. It was a 2-hour show in Central America where they went back to where they found the skull, and it was with Holtz, Leroy. Heck, I don't know why I messed his name up, but we did a show down there, and then we went to Copan, Honduras, where Mitchell-Hedges worked with the archaeologists over there to learn more techniques and getting in and opening the buildings and stuff. And then we went to an island of Rotan, and off Rotan is where Anna had her little island called Key Comfort. It was right next to the island of Punta Gorda, or is what Port Royal. That was Morgan the Pirate's island, and that's where Mitchell-Hedges left a 18-inch crystal statue down there in 1932 because they said it was enchanted, and he didn't want to take it there, so he reburied it there. And he was supposed to go right before the war, and he was going down there in 1938. And when the war broke out, they wouldn't let him leave; he had to stay. And so that and he never got back down afterwards. So Anna and I and Carol Davis, the one that wrote the Skull Speaks, a very, very intuitive reader, went down with us, and we went back to find if everything looked the same and everything looked untouched. So we went back down that area. That was quite interesting. So I always say to people when I do my lecture that, hey, you ready for an adventure? We'll go down and find that crystal statue. That sound like fun?
It sounds like fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always does. Always does.
If you go, Glenda may be able to help you through remote viewing. So
yeah, you know what? That's I did some stuff, and there's a show and the guy goes down looking for stuff all the time, and Carol the psyche would get so mad at him because she said turn 2 feet this way, go 5 there, and it's right there, and he'd dig a hole. Nothing here, okay, and that's the way to do it. If you could do that, that's what we need. And you could stay in your home or in a 5-star hotel and just say turn right. That would be cool.
Well, she's already had some success in finding things that were missing, so on a very important scale. So who knows? It could all be part of the process.
Yeah. Well, there's some interesting stuff that we'll have to talk about with you guys, because it'd be interesting because they want to come out now, and this is the time to find them. So yeah.
Yep, they want to come out and they're gearing all their energy to sending it out to hopefully get people to notice it. And
we got to turn this planet around.
Yes,
and I don't mean retrograde, but so you mentioned the book about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. The Skull Speaks. Yeah, it was written in I think it was 1982. It was Carol Wilson Davis was coming over to Sammy's house to see the skull, and she went into this trance, and she just downloaded amazing stuff. So Sammy started having her there, and then this other friend who was an author came, and they put together a book called The Skull Speaks, and it was written in a way now. A lot of the stuff, as you read it now, it's answering stuff that's happening now. It had 10 prophecies in the back of the book. Every one of the 10 is now been fulfilled. So it's a really powerful book called The Skull Speaks. Yeah.
Well, I could understand because it's been speaking to me. So I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah.
It's an honor though, because not everybody listens.
Right. And it's time to listen, isn't it? It's time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, not just listen, it's time to do.
Do. You're right. So if you come up with anything, that would be neat. We'd love to. Here, Cass, here's a copy of the.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Matt.
So, you say you traveled all around the world basically with the skull, and
I did it at the beginning. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when you're not traveling with it, does it call you, or do you feel the pull to go back and get it, or does it tell you what?
Yeah, I do. It does. Area? It really makes you feel bad. It's like, oh, okay, but yeah, that's the exact feeling you get. Yeah, feel bad. But
to touch on what you were saying, there's a very, to me, one of the most important passages regarding intention or prayer without acts is dead. So yeah, people get stopped or they stop themselves or whatever, but you know, people got to learn to follow through and trust themselves and get
Oh, right.
support and become
Mm-hmm.
empowered. You know, that's why you go where you go and put the time in you put in. Glenda does it as well. And you know, it's time. We got to turn this thing around.
Right. And now I think the light workers are waking up, and they're the ones that are the light that's going to change, because it's turning people on to the energy of light, and they're being drawn to it, and they're seeking. And so it's an important job right now, just to be yourself and bring through that knowledge. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
connect to that love and act with
Oh
the
yeah.
power of that love.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because you can't, if you try to fight a negative with negative, you get dealing in that cause and effect. But if you can
Mhm.
stay, centered and just think about positive things, and let it be your life be guided by that universal love, yeah, everything changes, and we can have so much power. The skull was asked if there'll be about world peace, and there's a legend that if you get the 13 skulls together, we could have world peace. But the thing is, the skull says we could have world peace tomorrow if we got enough like-minded people together and
Mhm.
put that energy out. We could change the world, and I'm feeling that world peace. I'm that we don't need the war anymore, and we need to be able to work as brothers and sisters, as a family of God coming together, helping each other. So that's what I feel.
Well, for years, people have created the illusion of separation, and people are waking up to the idea that we are one, and the love is one, and we are all connected, not just on this planet, but
Yeah,
throughout the universe.
right. We have our universal brothers and sisters are come from all places and all times coming together. So that's going to be the biggest achievement of awakening, I think, when it starts coming through and we start connecting with these outer ET forces that are around. I think that's going to be really exciting.
Mhm. Mhm. And the skulls are going to be a very big part of it, because they're going to help the humans, definitely, to stay centered, so they can be in that level of vibration to be able to talk to the ETs, to be able to understand and not fear them.
And
Um,
that's the thing, when you fight negative with negative, your vibrations get pulled down,
Yeah,
and
but
you can't
but
access all of that.
yeah, it blocks everything, doesn't it? Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. So
So, for say someone who wants to book with you, they go through the whole thing. Do you have like a certain amount of time, certain number of
well, yeah,
times that you?
I just do. I think it's half an hour or an hour sessions is what it
Mm,
is. Yeah,
yeah.
and that works out real good. You can do quite a bit. So yeah, and it's like I say, it's always interesting. Well, can I tell you some like an adventure thing that comes through
Of
with the skulls
course.
kind of fun? Yeah,
Oh,
what
Please.
it
sure.
is in about 78, this gentleman was working in Toronto, and Carol, the psychic, lives in Toronto, and she got a call from him, and he wanted to know all about Mitchell-Hedges, the Crystal Skull, and Anna, and she told him the whole stories and everything, and then he wanted to know about Anna, and so they called over to Anna, and she was leaving that next day for England, so she couldn't see him, but Carol told this guy all the information, and then in 1983 he came out with a movie that was called Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was Steven Spielberg. And so now that's one of the things. So then when I do my lectures, I say that F.A. Mitchell-Hedges was Indiana Jones. But then I got another one, and this is really cool. And I found some old letters I went through from. It was written to Mitchell-Hedges, and it was from the head of British Naval Intelligence, and it was kind of a coded letter. Didn't make much sense. I had it, and it was signed, so I thought that's cool. I'll keep it. And then I showed it to a friend, and what he did is either at the bottom they sign on it. You know who wrote it,
Right.
because everybody has, whoever writes it has to type their initials on it. And so he went and found out who it was. And do you know who wrote it originally? Who wrote that? It was Ian Fleming.
Wow. Wow.
James Bond. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Mitchell-Hedges was working for the British intelligence in Central America. That's one of the things he was doing down there. He's looking for artifacts that connected to Atlantis, and so that was what he was traveling all through the islands to do. And then when he was the person in London that was sending out the messages to the agents in the field, that was Ian Fleming. So that's kind of interesting. So that's why when I do my lectures now, I get to say F.A. Mitchell-Hedges is Indiana Jones and James Bond. One of my two favorite people. I love James Bond. I love Indiana Jones movies. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
What
I did is I have fun with it. You know, you gotta find the joy in it, and you can't. You know, if you're serious, that's no fun. So have fun with life.
That's Glenda's biggest complaint. I never make her laugh.
No, but it does raises the vibration, which then helps you become more open to whatever the crystal is trying to help you with. So I'm a big believer in laughter and.
Yeah, when she says that, I say, "Look me in the eye and tell me that," and she takes a good look at me and she bursts out laughing. I don't know what it is.
What it is. I get that. I get that from people too. So I know.
I'm sorry to hear that. But whatever works, you know.
Whatever works. Yeah. It's really enjoyable. That's really neat. So yeah. Any other questions that I haven't covered very well that you'd like me to go over or anything?
Well, we have about 6 minutes left. Is there anything that you want to cover that we haven't touched on? Because I know I kind of sidetracked you a little bit because there were a couple of things that I thought were important. Because you go on an airplane with that thing, it's not riding in the baggage section. I know it's not.
Okay, no, I pretty much wherever it is, like even so now I a lot of times I take on trains, because I don't feel like driving all over the country. And so it's I get one of those little rooms, so but I always have it with me no matter where I go. On the if you go off the train, you have it with you. If you go even to the bathroom, you got to take you can't just leave it.
No, you can't.
No.
Go to the dining room, you ask it if it's hungry.
Yeah.
Feed it some energy. Feed yourself some energy so you can feed it energy. But yeah, no, I think it's great. But to me, when you said on an airplane, I mean, I know it's got to be right there with you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a very important, particularly as it speaks to Glenda. I know that this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
Louis.
This is really neat, and yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So, is there anything else that you want to talk about in this last few minutes?
Okay, well, it's just it's been a pleasure, and I had fun. I hope you did too, and I hope I was able to answer all the questions that help the people understand it. It's here to help mankind. It's not for everyone. People are supposed to see it. They're going to be drawn to it, and I don't like showing it to people just because I don't do sideshows anymore. Mm-hmm. It's people that have a need to see it, and they're ready to make a difference and change in their life, and so that it's pretty neat to be able to do that. And I work with a lot of indigenous now because I have a love for them and they're what they stand for, because I feel they're important now because they're bringing out all their teachings for the connection between the land and the people and the spirit world. And they're the ones that talk about the star beings, and being, it's not like, oh, they feel at one with them, and they're like part of their family, and that's where we're going as our race evolves. We're going to be more connected to our family in space. And we're right at that time. Yeah, so I worked with the Blackfeet, and they had on the reservation, and they had like the people, the chiefs from the Blackfeet and the Blackfoot. The Blackfeet are from Canada. The Blackfoot the Blackfoot is from United States. The Blackfeet is from Canada, I believe it is. And then, so working with them, they gave me a name, Natusi Nina. And so Natusi Nina, that sounds kind of funny, but what it means is Starman. And for me, I think that's pretty cool. I like that one. Who are you? Hey, over there. Who are you? Oh, I'm Starman. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it must be an honor to receive an actual name like that, from.
Yeah, well, Anna worked with the tribes in Africa after the war, and she was given a name, Glinging Glover, and she thought, oh, that's really nice. Okay, and she found out what it meant, and she was like, meant big elephant, and she was like shocked, but really ready to fight. But then she finds out they're one of their best.
That's an honor.
That's an honor.
Yeah, that's an honor. So it's.
I mean, I was very fortunate. I got to spend quite a bit of time living on the Cattaraugus Reservation in upstate New York with the Seneca Nation.
The Seneca. Yeah, they have a history. Yeah, they do. Yes, very, and they're really connected. Yeah, they are. Yeah, you got to spend time with them out there.
I got to live there for several years.
Wow!
On the reservation. So I was very, very fortunate. Okay, honey, take us home. We're almost there.
Yes. Unfortunately, Bill, we've come to the end of our show. We definitely need to have you back and, tell us more about.
When I get the center, right? I will come back and.
There you go.
Well, no, you don't have to wait that long.
You could do it.
Okay. Well, whatever. Hey, I love being here, and just you tell me. And
okay.
Yeah. Well, the skull is sending you guys much love and light. So let's make a difference in the world, aren't we? Yeah. But just by being what we are and what we've been bringing out, it's getting stronger now. People are listening. People are needing the knowledge. So yeah.
Well, please hold and stay for a minute. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. And please share this program so others can understand. And, you never know what's going to take to spark that awakening moment. So thank you all. Many blessings. As always, love you. Bye.